Welcome to this tutorial in global operations. And today I'll be discussing about material requirement planning. I'll be discussing material requirement planning using the three models. The first one being lot for lot, and the second one being EOQ. Let me do this. So we have the first one, which is lot for lot. The second one, which is economic order quantity material planning, material requirement planning model, and the last one being periodic order quantity. Now with lot for lot, basically we assume that the materials required, the materials required is what we just basically need to produce or order. All right. With economic order quantity, we use the EOQ, which was discussed earlier in our tutorials, where we use the formula to calculate the economic order quantity, which is the ideal quantity at which a firm minimizes its holding and ordering cost. POQ is periodic. We are going to see how it works out. This one works out based on the intervals which passes for you to place an order. So if there are 3 intervals which passes or 4 intervals which passes, meaning as you place an order, you should place an order to cover for 3 or 4 periods as the requirement in the exam. So let's go to straight an example. Let's look at question 1, or question A rather, under material requirement planning. Question A, example using lot for lot. Prepare material requirement plan, okay, using lot for lot, where the order cost or setup cost is $100. The holding cost per week is $1. The lead time is 1 week. Using the information provided below. Now the information which has been provided below, the information that has been provided below is basically that. That's what we are looking at. So when you look at, this is the table that most likely you'll be given in the exam. And if you look at the table, it has got weeks from week 1 to week 10. Then it's got gross requirement for week 1, way up to week 10. Then projected on hand, meaning what we are projecting to be the opening inventory. All right. So as you can see, this opening inventory is not pointing to any week, meaning it will be the opening inventory for week 1, coming from the previous periods. Now the examiner is asking us to calculate the net requirements, number 1, and then number 2, planned order receipt, and then number 3, allocate order release, and then number 4, total holding cost, total ordering cost, and perhaps what the total cost, the total inventory cost, what the total inventory cost is. Total inventory cost, let me put it like that. All right. So now if you see this table, if you want to be effective in the way you are answering the question, when you look at this table, it only has how many rows? 1, 2, 3, 3 rows. The first row is for weeks, the second row is for gross requirements, and the third row is for projected on hand. Now what you do for you to be effective, you need to include another row for net requirement and another row for order receipt and another row for allocating order release. So you need to basically add these 3 rows to the already existing table. And if we're doing that, this is how the solution will look like. So I come on solution there. Solution, lot for lot, lot to lot. Okay, as you can see, this part we already have, we've been given by the examiner. This part I've colored. They're the parts that I've added based on what the examiner is requesting us, the net requirements, order receipt, and order release. Okay, now remember what I said. The 35 will actually be the opening. The 35 will actually be the opening for period. Let me do this. The 35 will actually be the opening for period for week 1. So there we'll put 35 there. Okay, where is this 35 coming from? It's coming from the previous period projected on hand. So if week 1, the gross requirement is 35 and we already have 35, do we require any materials? Not at all, because we already have the 35 which is required. Week 2, the projected on hand, we have got nothing here for week 2, as you can see. We've got nothing here, but the gross requirement is 30. So we will need a net of 30 because we don't have anything here. Week 3, sorry, we require 40, but the projected on hand is 0. So meaning we need to order 40. Week 4, the gross requirement is 0 and the projected on hand is 0, meaning we do not need to order anything here. So we'll put it like that. The net requirement will be 0. Week 5, the projected on hand is 0 there. We were not given anything. And the net requirement here, it will be 10 because we need 10. The gross requirement says that we need 10 and we've got nothing here. There was nothing which was given based on the question. If you can see, the question only gave 135 there, which was thrown to week 1. So meaning here we did not project anything. All right. So week 6, they require 40. We have got nothing. We need 40 as our net requirement. Week 7, they require 30. We have nothing. We need 30. Week 8, we require 0. We have nothing. We need 0. Week 9, we have nothing on hand, but they require 30. We need 30. Week 10, they require 55, but we've got nothing on hand. Therefore, we require 55. So as simple as all that, you will have responded to the first part of the question where the examiner says net requirement. Now, order receipt. Order receipt is what we should receive and when we should receive it. So order receipt in week 2, we need to receive 30. In week 4, so we'll just be picking the net requirement because this is lot for lot. So we're assuming that we are just ordering what we need. Okay, so week 3, we have 40. Week 5, we need to receive 10. Week 6, we need to receive 40. Week 7, we need to receive 30. I'm just picking the net requirements. Week 9, we need to receive 30. Week 10, we need to receive 55. So this is what basically we need to receive, okay? But if we need to receive these, when should they be released? Remember, the question, when should we release the order for us to receive it in those weeks that we want to receive them? Remember, the question says there is a lead time of 1 week. So if you need anything in week 7, for example, the order has to be placed in week 6. Because from the time you place an order to the time you receive it, there will be 1 week lag time. So therefore, this 30, which should be received in week 2, we need to place or release an order in week 1. So the 30 will come there. The 40 that is needed in week 3, we need to place an order in week 2. So 40 will come there. The 10 that is required in week 5, we need to place an order in week 4. The 10 will come there because of the 1 week lead time. So we have the 40 for week 6 coming in week 5, and we have the 30 for week 7 coming in week 6. And then the 30 here, which is required in week 9, will come in week 8 because of the lead time of 1 week. Then the 55, which is required in week 10, will be ordered in week 9. We need to release the order in week 9. There we go. So now we have dealt with the 3 parts, those first 3 parts, which is net requirement, plant order receipt, and allocate order release. Okay, and then we come to order cost. So order cost now, which is the next question. Yes, order cost, which is question 4. No, total holding cost. The holding cost, sorry, then I need to do like this so that I put them in order. Total holding cost. The holding cost is based on us having inventory on hand. So if you check the on hand row here, the on hand row, let me put it blue, projected on hand. That row which you are seeing for the projected on hand, if you check it properly, we did not keep any inventory, in exception of the inventory which was coming from the previous weeks, which was regarded as the opening inventory for week 1. So therefore, we cannot claim that these 5 units were held in week 1. No. They are just flowing in week 1. They are coming from the previous period. So here, the holding cost will be, how much is the holding cost? The holding cost per week is $1. So the holding cost will be $1 here multiplied by 0. Why are we multiplying by 0? We did not hold any inventory. The 5 was just flowing from the previous weeks. It's not coming from week 1. No, it's coming from elsewhere. So there we have $0. And then we need to calculate the ordering cost. The ordering cost here is dependent on the number of orders. So the number of orders is dependent on order release. So we can calculate 1 there, 2, we have an order in week 1, we have an order in week 2, we have an order in week 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 orders. We have an order in week 1 and in week 2, and in week 4 we have an order, in week 5 we have an order, in week 6 we have an order, in week 8 we have an order, and week 9 we have an order. So we have 7 orders. Okay. So what is the order cost? The order cost, which is equivalent to the setup cost, is $100 per order. $100 per order. So I have $100 there being multiplied by 7 orders that are going to be, which is 700. And our total cost will be holding cost plus holding cost plus ordering cost. So our total cost will be 0, which is the holding cost, plus $700, which gives us $700. That's our total cost for lot to lot. The other system, the other inventory for material requirement planning that we're going to use is EOQ. as you can see, the economic order quantity. So now we go to B, where we have economic order quantity. So we review the question, but the solution as with regard to lot is this one. Question B, example using EOQ. Order cost still remains to be $100. Holding cost per week is $1, and the lead time has maintained to be 1 week. Using the information provided below here, calculate the net requirement, planned order receipt, order release, total holding cost, ordering cost, and perhaps total inventory cost. Total inventory cost, I'll need it. Okay, the only difference that we have slightly here with our first question is that if you can see at the on hand here, we have quite a number of projected on hand, meaning the inventory that we are forecasting to have on hand. It's a projected. Remember, what we are doing is just planning. So we cannot say this is the inventory that remains. No. It's what we are projecting that we should have on hand as a particular period of time in a given week. All right. So now, just like we did, I'll need to add these three to the existing table, which is in the question: the net requirements, planned order receipt, and order release. I'll need to add them to the table. Okay. So the first thing I'll need to do is to calculate my EOQ, because this time around, we're not just going to order what we need. We are going to order based on economic order quantity, which is EOQ. All right. So the first thing is to calculate the EOQ. So for me to calculate my EOQ, I need the annual demand. So my annual demand, how can I find my annual demand? What I've been given a week. So the best is to calculate the average gross requirement, the weekly average gross requirement. So how do I calculate this? I'll need to add now. I'll need to add these numbers here. I'll need to add them. So I have 35 plus 30 plus 40 plus 10 plus 40 plus 30 plus 30 plus 55. Okay. I'm getting 270. That's my total inventory. So first is to find the average inventory per week. So my average inventory per week will be total inventory, which is the total gross requirement, total over N. Total over N, N being the number of weeks. The total over N, which I'm just from calculating, is 270. And then the number of weeks involved is 10 weeks. So meaning the average inventory is 27 per week. And we know for sure, if we are finding the annual demand, we know for sure that in a year there are 52 weeks. So the annual demand would be 27 multiplied by 52. And then what will I have? 27 multiplied by 52. I'm getting 1404. 1,404 units per year. Okay. I'll need to remove these first. These are not a part of. Okay, I'll come and fuse them in as we find. Okay, so now my EOQ should be okay. Sorry, just beg your pardon. I need also to have the holding cost. Remember from our previous tutorials, in order to calculate the EOQ, we need the holding cost per unit per year. So now the holding cost that we have, which has been given in this question, is the holding cost per week. But that's not what we want. We need the holding cost per unit per year. So the holding cost per week is $1 per unit. To make it per year, we multiply this by 52. And then what we have here is $52 as the holding cost per unit per year. EOQ, we just don't calculate anyhow. We calculate its annual demand. It's not any other demand. It's annual demand. And the holding cost that we calculate is the holding cost per unit per year. Okay, now I'll bring this formula here. Let me explain the elements in the formula. The elements in the formula, of course, we know them. 2 is a constant. CO is the cost of ordering. Cost of ordering. Yes. CO is the cost of ordering, which in this case has been given as $100. It's been given in the question. Then D is annual demand. Annual demand were not given. We have to calculate the average week demand by adding the total gross requirement for the weeks and then divide by 10. And we found that after dividing by 10, we found that it was 27. To make it annual, we had to multiply by 52 weeks in a year. So we found that to be 1,404. Okay, 1,404. The holding cost per unit per year, we've calculated here. It's $52. It's $52. There we go. So we have everything that is supposed to go in this formula. The CO, which is the cost of ordering, is basically 100. So we'll say 100 there. Multiply by annual demand, which is 1,404, divide by holding cost per unit per year, which is 52. And then I'm finding myself having, what will be the answer? 2 multiplied by 100 multiplied by 1,404 divide by 52. I'm having 54. The square root of 54. The square root of 54. I'm obtaining 73.45. Okay, 73.45. So in simple terms, we can simply say our EOQ is 73 units, meaning each time we place an order, we should be ordering 73 units. Let's see how this differs from lot to lot. So EOQ now, net requirement, very interesting here, very interesting. So our net requirement, as you can see, we still have the 35, which is coming from the other period as projected on hand. But the new thing is that we also have projected on hand in other weeks here, which is very exciting. So this 35, as usual, will be pushed into week 1. Okay, into week 1 as the opening inventory. And then from there now we can start. So the gross requirement in week 1 is 35. and we already have 35. Do we require anything? Do we have any net requirement? Should we order anything here in terms of material? No. In week 2, the gross requirement is 30, and we already have, no, we don't have anything. We have 0 here. So meaning the net requirement will be 30. In week 3, the gross requirement is 40, and we are projecting to have inventory on hand of 43. Should we order? No, we shouldn't. Why? The reason is simple. We already have 43, and the gross requirement is what? 40. So 0 here. In week 4, the gross requirement is 0. We already have 3. Should we order? No. We require nothing. In week 5, the gross requirement is 10, and we only have 3 on hand. Yes, we need a net of 7. Because we require 10, we have 3 on hand. In week 6, the gross requirement is 40. We already have 66. Should we order? No, we already have 66, and we only require 40. Nothing to be ordered here. No net requirement. Then in week 7, 30, and then the projected on hand is 26. Yes, we require something here. The gross requirement is 30. We are projected to have on hand 26. So there will be a net requirement of 4. In week 8, the gross requirement is 0, and we have 69. We shouldn't order. In week 9, the gross requirement is 30, and we have 69. We shouldn't order. In week 10, the gross requirement is 55, and we have 39. Yes, we need to order. What is the net that we need to order? 55 minus 39, 16. Order receipt. Now listen carefully here. Order receipt. What should be received? Remember, this one is not lot for lot. This one is EOQ. Material requirement planning, EOQ. And we calculated the EOQ. Each time we place an order, we should be ordering 73. Do we need an order in week 2? No. Oh, sorry, in week 1? No. There is no net requirement. In week 2, though the net requirement is 30, we are not going to order 30 because each and every time we place an order, we need to order 73. So I'll write 73 here. This is how EOQ works. In week 3, there is no need for ordering. There is no net requirement. 4, no net requirement. Week 5, there is a net requirement of 7, but still we cannot order 7 because this time we place an order, we need to order 73. So I'll put 73 there. In week 6, do we need to order? No. Week 7, yes, there is a net requirement of 4, but we are going to order 73. Week 8, 0. We don't need to place an order. Week 9, 0. Week 10, yes, there's a net requirement of 16, but still we are going to order 73. Order release. Again, here the lead time we've been told to say it's 1 week. So everything that we need in week 2 should be ordered in week 1. So order release for week 2 will be here, 73. We'll place an order 73 in week 1, which should be received in week 2. We'll place an order here, 73 in week 4, which should be received in week 5. Just like that. So we'll be ordering prior to the time it is required. So I've finished filling in the table here. I've finished filling in the table. I've finished filling in the table here. Now I can calculate the order cost. The order cost will simply look at the number of orders. How many are they? 1, 2, 3, 4. So the order cost per order is $100, and we need to make 4 orders. This will give us $400 as the answer for order cost. Holding cost. Yes, let's pay attention here. Holding cost, we are looking at the inventory which is projected on hand. Now, when you look at the 35 was not projected on hand, it's coming from the previous period as I've explained. We just threw it in week 1 because it was seated here. Okay, but we can say 43, 3, 3, and 66, 26, all these projected on hand. 69, 69, 39, these were held. So we need to add those. So let me add 43 plus 3 plus 3 plus 66 plus 26 plus 69 plus 69 plus 39. I have 318. Okay. Now I need to make a statement. There's something special about this kind of a computation. Let's observe with 10. With 10, did we receive anything in week 10? Yes. How many units did we receive in week 10? If you can see, with 10 we received 73. What was the net requirement? 16. So meaning if we received 73 and the net requirement was 16, it simply means that we have inventories which we hold in week 10, which will spill over to the next period. So for week 10 alone, we are still holding. For week 10 alone, we are still holding something there, which is calculated as the 73 which we received minus the net requirement, which is 16, and then this will give us, so 73 minus 16, this will give us 57. So we need to add 57 there. Yes, we need to add 57 there. So meaning in total, we will hold inventory of 318 plus 57. So in total, we hold 318 plus 57. We hold 375 inventory. 375, and the holding cost, is $1 per unit per week. Okay, and then we'll do that, and then this will give us 375, and then we can calculate the total cost from here. We can calculate the total cost from here. Total cost, total inventory cost is holding cost, that's ordering cost. So order cost is 400, and the holding cost is 375. And then we have $775. $775 as our total inventory cost under EOQ. This is how you solve under EOQ. So far, we've done 2. We've done lot to lot and EOQ. We are going now to periodic order quantity, which is POQ. Example, question C on POQ. We still have the order cost being the same, which is $100, and the holding cost per week being $1, and the lead time has maintained to be 1 week, and the lead time has maintained to be 1 week. Using the information provided below, so we have the information provided below. We have gross requirement for each week and the projected on hand. I've talked a lot about the projected on hand, and I've always indicated to say the one which is actually coming here gets to be thrown in week 1, okay, as the opening for week 1, not that it was held in week 1. All right, so we have that. So we are going to extend the table like we've been doing. We're going to extend this table as we are finding the solution with net requirement, planned order receipt, and order release. But we need to calculate the interval for POQ. And the periodic order quantity or the period itself is EOQ over average usage per week. What is our EOQ? EOQ is actually 73. We had already calculated the EOQ, if you remember. In solution B, we have calculated the EOQ. There. The EOQ will be the same because the gross requirement goes up to 70. The annual demand will be 1404 and something like that. So what is the average usage per week? The average usage per week is 27. We calculated that one as well because the total gross requirement per week was 270, and then we divide by 10. It gave us 27. So now 73 divided by 27, we are obtaining 2.7. 2.7. Now this being the period, we can round it off to 3 weeks. So every time we place an order, we should be placing an order which will cover for 3 weeks. Let's see. Let's see how this goes. All right. We start with net requirement. Remember, the 35 year will be pushed in week 1. In week 1, we require 35, but we projected to have on hand 35. What will be our net requirement? 0, of course. In week 2, we require 30, and we have 0 projected on hand. That will be 30. In week 3, the gross requirement is 40, and the projected on hand is 40. We require nothing here. In week 4, the gross requirement is 0, and the projected on hand is 0. We require nothing. In week 5, what we require is 10. Projected on hand is 0. We need 10. In week 6, the gross requirement is 40. We already have 70 on hand, meaning we will not need anything. Because we already have the 70 is able to cater for the gross requirement of the 40. In week 7, we require 30, and we have projected on hand 30, 0 here. Week 8, 0. Week 9, we require 30, and the projected on hand is 0. We require 30 as our net requirement. In week 10, the gross requirement is 55, and the projected on hand is 55. We require nothing here. Now, let's observe. So everywhere where we have a number, it simply means that we need to place an order. Everywhere where we have a number, we need to place an order. So we have got a number in week 2, we've got a number in week 5, and we've got a number in week 9. Okay, so we have 30. But remember, this is periodic order quantity, so we need to order inventory sufficient to cover for 3 weeks. So if we are ordering here in week 2, we need to cover orders for 3 weeks, meaning week 2 we'll go from week 2 itself, week 3, and week 4. Week 2 itself, week 3, and week 4. So if you can see, if we add the gross requirement for week 2 itself, week 3, and week 4, when we add 30 plus 40 plus 0, it gives us 70. So 70 is what will come there. I move. How do I move? I'm going to target where there is a number. So in week 5, there's a number. But as we order in week 5, we need to order inventory, which will cover for 3 weeks from week 5 because of the POQ that we calculated, which suggests 3 weeks. So if I'm ordering here, meaning I'll order from week 5, which is 10 plus 40 week 6 plus 30 week 7, which will give me 80. So 10 plus 40 gives me 50. 50 plus 30 gives me 80. So I'll cover for this. Okay? You know why I'm covering for this? Because I'm ordering for this period here. And if that's what I'm doing, I need to make sure as I order, it covers for 3 weeks. So from 5, 6, 7, it covers the gross requirement for 3 weeks because of this 3, which is here. So here I'm putting 80. I go straight where there is a requirement, that is week 9. So week 9, again, I need to order what is sufficient to cover the gross requirement for the next 3 weeks. But if you can see, we only have 2 weeks here, so I only add these 2. The 3rd week is supposed to be the 11th week, but we're not taking into account the 11th week, so I'll just add those 2 because I'm limited. So that will be 30 plus 55, which will give me 85. This is what it means when we talk about POQ. Order release, that which is supposed to be received in week 2 should be placed, the order should be placed in week 1. This which is supposed to be received in week 5, the order should be placed in week 4. This which is supposed to be received in week 9, the order should be placed in week 8. 85, like that. So from here now, I can calculate the order cost. How many orders? 1 here, 2 there, 3 orders. And the order cost is $100 per order, multiplied by 3 orders, which will give me 300. The holding cost, since we did not receive anything in week 10, the holding cost will just count what we are holding from here to there. Remember, we're not counting this 35. This 35 comes from the previous period. We just push it in week 1. So I'm calculating those 40 plus, the next one is 70 plus 30 plus 55. I have 195. I have 195. We did not order anything in week 10, so we cannot say we were holding something in week 10 and something like that. So no, we're actually, the only thing which we are holding in week 10 is the projected on hand, which is the 55. It's different from this one where we ordered something and the net requirement was 16. It simply meant that in this 73 we need to remove 16 to see what is going to be held in week 10 apart from the 39 which is already held. But for this one, we will not do that because we did not receive anything in week 10. So what I've added actually makes up the total inventory which was held, where I added 40 plus 70 plus 30 plus 55, which is the projected on hand, in exception of the 35, which was just flowing through from the other period. So what I have here is 195. 195 is the total inventory that we're going to hold, and each we are holding it at $1 per holding cost per week per unit. This will give us $195, and the total cost will be $300 plus 195. $300 plus 195, which gives us $495. $495. Okay. Now from here, we are done with all the computation. All we need to do is to make a comparison to see which one has the lowest total cost. Is it lot to lot? Is it EOQ or POQ? So under lot to lot, as you can see, our total cost was 700. Lot to lot, total cost is 700. Let me record it. Comparison. Lot to lot, $700. Under EOQ, the total cost was, this is EOQ. Who is EOQ? Oh, sorry. Who is EOQ? Okay, under EOQ, the solution is here. Under EOQ, the total cost is 775. Sorry, this should be at the end of the thing. And I confused myself. Under EOQ, the total cost is 775, and just put this at the end. 775 as we calculated. And under POQ, the total cost is just here, 495. And with these three comparisons, we can deduce that the best planning method here under material requirement planning, the best planning method is the one with the lowest cost. Is POQ with the lowest cost. Thank you. So this is what I had to tutor on material requirement planning.